I'm back right here on the Copper Coins channel. This is reveal number 750. 3/4 of the way to 1,000, and we have this 1963 original roll. I'm going to open it up, go through it. I invite you guys all to be here for the excitement and the goodies. Shall there be any in this roll? Get this thing opened here. This is a tool that was created for opening iPhone screens or opening cell phone screens. I'm not sure it was iPhone, but it works really well as a picking device to pick the ends of the rolls so that you can get them open. It's kind of like a little, like a whittling process. And there we go. And as soon as you can get it open, they kind of rip apart real easy. And it's a way of being able to open these rolls without tearing up the paper and just making a serious mess. It also keeps you from damaging any of the coins. But here's the process. Yep, it's pretty safe to the coins because it is plastic. It has no metal. I've seen people use a screwdriver to open rolls, and I just think that's... Why don't you just use dynamite? Screwdrivers are just as safe. Alright, so there we are, 1963. Original roll, opened up there. Not expecting a whole lot, but we do have double die obverse and double die reverse coins to be looking for. So here we go. Let's get started. 1963. What do we have here? Well, we have a nice, rather early dice date coin to get started. Obverse is nice and peachy looking. It has some coloration issues, but that's primarily because we're talking about a roll ender. We could also be talking about some storage issues. We're mostly looking for die varieties, which at any pace are going to have some value regardless of the overall color of the coin, as long as the condition is there, and the condition is nice on these. So that's it for the first coin there. Mr. McCumber. Wart nose. Oh, I didn't see it. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah. Wart nose. Looks like somebody tried to cut his nose off. Hit him with a sledgehammer, yep. IT. Okay, it looks like our whole roll is going to have some... this is planchet wash that created this issue. And it is exacerbated sometimes by storage method. And that's what's happened on this roll. I wanted to get this one out and open it up because it was a definite original roll. And original rolls are where you're going to find most of your double dies and better die varieties. So I'm not surprised that it came out not the 100% best. Now, if you look at these coins just by picking up the coin and looking at it without going to a 1,000 power microscope, they do look pretty nice. So it's only when you get them under these extremely powerful microscopes do you see the issues that planchet wash caused on these coins. Well, 3 coins in, I'm still not seeing anything. This is the reveal that was supposed to start at 1 o'clock. I had one at 11, one at 12, one at 1. And, well, we're pretty well ahead of all that. Okay, we're going to start trying to remember dice here. So, we don't have mint marks, so it makes it a little more difficult, but we're going to call this the scratches in front of the face. We've got diagonal die scratches running through the date area, but if you look out here in front of the face, there's a bunch of scratches in front of the face. So we're going to call this the scratches in front of the face die. And the reason that we do this is because we now know this obverse and we can compare it later when we're looking at reverses. Hello, Pat. That email address that you have in front of you on screen is my email address for registration. If you send to that your name, your YouTube name, so I can be sure I've got everything connected, and your email address where I can send a PayPal invoice and you can pay it from that email address. So don't send me your work email or your school email. If you have a personal email that you check, I need that email address. And that makes you a registered member. Once you are a registered member, we sell these reveal spots on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That'd be 4 p.m. if you're on the Pacific time zone. And what we do in these is I go through the rolls of coins that I have selected as being the most possible, most eligible to have goodies inside. I go through them speaking about the coins, speaking about coins in general. It's basically doing whatever I can to entertain and educate those who watch. And if I find anything, we will get it attributed for you so that you have a die number. If I find anything and it happens to be something new, then that makes it an exciting new find. And that goes on the flip insert with the die number when we send you the coin. If your coin happens to be the one that we decide to photograph for a die variety, because we found your coin to be the sexiest among the group of coins, whatever we shall receive in that roll, then you get credit for that coin. The photographs of your coin go on coppercoins.com, and any subsequent books or magazine articles or other things that happen to publish that information by Copper Coins. And you'll get a personally hand-signed flip insert showing that your coin is what we call a plate coin. Plate coins are the coins that are photographed for publication. Those plate coins you can actually submit to Annex to have them placed into a holder. We've seen this one before. So for that, we don't need the reverse because we've already seen it. And proof is in the pudding, there's nothing there. Just a Lincoln cent. Anyhow, when you get those coins, they are automatically a repurchasable item for Copper Coins. So I will give you value money for whatever it is that we have found in the roll that you ended up with. Well, generally, if it's a brand new listing, I need one. So, in fact, always, if it's a brand new listing, I'll need one. And so if you want to give one of yours up, you can send it to me and I'll buy it from you. Or I'll give you credit for it in other reveals. So you can actually build up a reveal credit while you go along just by turning coins back in. Now, a lot of times what happens when people buy their maximum of 3 coins per roll, what happens is they'll get one of the die varieties, but they might get 2 or even 3 sometimes. It is just Annex that accepts the plate coins and will place plate coin on the holders. NGC and PCGS do not recognize me as being anything more than a coin dealer or coin collector. So there's a little emanation peel right there, a little piece of metal that flaked up off the planchet when the coin was struck. That is a planchet error, but it is a very, very minor one, and probably won't hold much of a bean toward value. But yes, Annex is the only company that recognizes the Copper Coins die system. Coin number 10, Taco John. And Taco John gets... Let's see, this one we can call the sweeping face die scratches, because they sweep out from the face, and they don't necessarily just go in one direction. They kind of make a feathering outward. Nothing on the obverse for that. Let's check the reverse and see if there's anything on the reverse of this coin. If there's not, then we know that this die also turns out to be pretty much a dud for die varieties. Number 11 now, on to Dan McCumber. And this one is the same die. Same die, second time around. You guys might be wondering, what is all that junk all over the coin? Well, there really isn't any junk on the coin. The coin has just toned down because of the wash that they washed the planchets in prior to the coins being struck. You'll notice that the pattern that leaves on the coin has nothing to do with the crevices, grooves, and lands and fills of the actual design itself. That's because this coloration was set to be developed onto the coin prior to when the coin was struck, back when it was a planchet. You can actually usually tell when a coin has something on it that was not there when the planchet was made, basically something that's on it after the strike, when whatever it is you're seeing follows all the different design elements of the coin itself. If it runs right through everything without any regard to the design, it was probably there before the design was placed on the coin. All right. Nothing on this one. So we move on. They do have pretty nice strikes. You are correct about that, Dan. Now, the other thing that I would want you to pay attention to when you're looking at coins is that not necessarily all coins with nice sharp edges are actually solid strikes. There are a lot of times where those are actually just early die state strikes, meaning that the die had not really worn much prior to the strike of that coin. So your coin looks like it's nice and full, but it may not be, because what you're looking at instead is early die state. It's where your die is nice and early on. Yeah, the design is fresh, new. This right here shows you a little bit of weakness in the strike. That is the last area generally to be filled in by the strike on a memorial, on these earlier memorial scents anyway. It's the area around the bottom of the steps. Now, if the bottom of the steps are complete, full, and all the way across, it's like a full bell line type thing. If you have all those steps, then you've got a nice solid strike. Otherwise, not so much. Typically, those are not all completely finished going all the way across on any memorial scent prior to 1969. The reason I use 1969 is because that is the year that the design changed. See, here's one that's much more typical in strike. All of this, that's not damage to the coin. All of this stuff was actually on the planchet prior to the strike, and this area did not get struck up completely, so it didn't obliterate all of these marks that were on the planchet prior to it going into the chamber. Same thing here, next to the E. All of that stuff is just struck through grit, grime, and dirt that was on the planchet when the planchet was pushed through the process. Coin 15. On to better things. Let's see. It doesn't really appear to me that we're going to come out with anything very unusual, different, or otherwise on this roll. All right, pardon me, if you excuse me for just a moment, I'll be right back. A head pain's starting to really dig into me. Let's see. Okay, Mark is next. Okay, that's the sweeping die scratches die. Had nothing on the reverse on this. Oh, what's that? A network of die cracks running along the VDB there on the truncation of the shoulder. Pretty nice. That one for Mark, number 17, Eric Beyer. And so nothing here. You have to imagine and have it be known on in your mind as you're going through coins that there are hundreds of varieties, die errors, things like that that happen on coins as they're going through the process, the dies, the coins. But there are also 1,000 coins that are normal for every one coin that has some sort of die variety or error on it. So you're going to find mostly normal coins when you're going through rolls, especially original rolls where you've only got about 5 or 6 die pairs for each roll that are repeated over and over again throughout the roll. And these are not something that the press operators really watch with regard to all the little minor anomalies that we see on the coins that we're going through. What they look for are the major things, like your printer gets a paper jam. Well, the press can get a paper jam in all the same way when a planchet gets stuck up in part of the machine where it shouldn't be, and it fouls the machine and starts making all kinds of weird coins, double, triple, quadruple strikes, saddle strikes, fold over strikes, things like that. And when those are caught, generally what's in the bin is scooped through to remove whatever they can get. Sometimes they might miss one here and there. But if it's something like a broad strike, which is a coin that is larger than it should be because it was struck out of the retaining color, this right here is an example of a broad strike. Coin is about the size of a nickel, maybe larger. And you can see that it just pancaked outward when it was struck. And it even split the copper in places. Here's the reverse just to show you what that looks like. It's as large as, if not larger than, a nickel. And broad strike coins like that are something that won't fit through what they call a riddler. A riddler is a shaking bin that the coins fall into after they're struck. And that bin has holes in it that are the exact size, basically 1/4 of a millimeter larger than the actual coins themselves. Anything that gets into the bin is stuff that fits through the riddler. If it doesn't fit through the riddler, it's pulled out and discarded as a error in the process, and usually melted down, crushed, chipped into little bits or something. And they either make new coins with them, or they sell that metal out to other processes. But where I'm going with this is that any error that doesn't fit in a roll is valuable, because they wouldn't have gone through the Riddler, which means that they had to have found it into the public some other way. Sometimes through clandestine creation and distribution, where bags will be seeded with error coins. Somebody grabs a handful from the bucket of rejects and throws it into a bag, and it gets out there, and somehow they figure out how to get the distribution system to specifically procure those bags to a certain bank that a certain person would be watching for on the back end. And that becomes part of the error market then, because you get a bag that contains 100 or 200 coins in it that are all messed up and ready for the error collectors. I don't think it was. I wouldn't know if it was a double dare. I never looked at it. But this roll is quickly becoming a bane because the coins aren't real pretty. They are relatively early dice state coins, most of them, but the planchet wash kind of got a hold of this roll and gave it a whirl. Basically, it's almost kind of like washing your dishes without rinsing them. End up going in the cabinet with soap spots all over them. This could be a lack of clean water when they were rinsed. It could be contaminated wash that didn't come completely clean. Now, this is wax from the wrapping paper. That comes directly off. That's very easy to take off the coins. A little xylene and you're done. But back to the planchet wash, it can totally destroy your chances for anything above a 65 in grade. Generally, coins with wash issues like this will not make a 66. And in many cases like this, they kind of brown the coins down a little early. And kind of make a mess out of the whole process, actually. All right, number 25. On to Alex. I'm going to just start going through obverses from here out because we've been through half the roll and found nothing on the reverses. We've also found nothing on the obverses, and we do seem to be running through the same 5 or 6 die pairs. And this roll is kind of a wash. I mean, it is a nice original roll. There's nothing wrong with the originality of the roll, and the coins actually have just a little bit of luster. They've got some color. They have character, but no die varieties, no bright red coins, no high grades. Our best chance for anything at this point is going to be a planchet error or a striking error. Off-centers will generally make it into the rolls because in one direction or another, those off-centers are the same size, the right size for the coin that they're supposed to be. And they'll fall through the Riddler because, man, those Riddlers shake the hell out of the coins. And if it falls through the Riddler, it goes into a bag and it'll go through the process to be rolled. And the rolling machines, rolling and crimping machines don't care care. Well, they can't care because they don't have any feelings. But what I'm saying is they don't discriminate between coins that are slightly off round and ones that are not. And that's generally when you get an off center, especially like a 40 or 50% off center, it's generally relatively round. And so they will go into wrappers. Oh, dirty wash coins can be graded because it's part of the minting process. It's just they don't grade anywhere near as high as coins that have a clean wash on them. So there is nothing inappropriately incorrect or wrong about this coin. It's not been cleaned. It's not been destroyed or damaged in any way outside the mint. What the problem is with it is it's just not really pretty. And there are a lot of much more pretty coins that are going to get higher grades than this. So, no, I mean, if I ran into a roll of coins that were just garbage because they won't grade, they're authentic coins, and that's about it, I'll pull that roll and we'll do a different one. This particular roll couldn't have possibly gauged what these were going to look like prior to opening the wrapper, because this is the first time these coins have been seen since 1963, and then in 1963, when they were viewed, they probably weren't viewed for more than a quarter of a second per coin, and nobody really cared back then what was going into the wrappers. As long as it fit into the wrappers and had a design punched on it, that was pretty much the job of the mint back then, was just to make coins. In fact, that's just the job of the mint now. There's not a whole lot of quality control that goes on when you break things down to the level of the coin itself. Most of the issues at the mint that are going to be taken care of are generally prior to the coin process. Now, if a coin jams up the machine and the machine starts making all kinds of hokey weird stuff like die caps and big indents and stuff like that, they will try to fish those out of the pile and keep those from getting out into the public, although that doesn't always work. Because, well, we have plenty of errors out there. Things like blank planchets, the blank planchets that don't get struck and go through the process without being struck. Those are actually relatively common. They're round just like the coins. The only difference is they are very, very slightly smaller. And the design is completely missing. This is nice. This is a needle sharp early die state. I love these. Regardless of their exact condition, these are the ones where you can discover new stuff. You discover new stuff and find that it's there, and then you have to make the determination on whether or not it's going to be visible in other die states later on in the process of minting coins. And that's where you be able to make the determination as to whether or not it's a listable variety or not. Wow, my neck is tightening by the minute. Probably need to go pay for a good massage. Get somebody to work all this crap out of my neck. I don't generally sell rolls on eBay, and I don't sell anything on Amazon, but I do occasionally put rolls in my auctions on YouTube. I have auction every Tuesday, or most Tuesday nights, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're registered, which you are, Russell, you can come on by the auction 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. I also have a website, lincolncent.com, where I have a number of rolls there, but they're mostly newer rolls. But I've got a bunch of candy stripe wrapped rolls there for sale. Candy stripe wrapped, meaning the ones that are red and white, more modern, late 70s forward. Dan. No. Inappropriate. Personal foul. I just need my neck worked out. I need something to give me some bodily relief. Yes, the coin process, Pat, is something that it's very necessary to know and learn it to be a good numismatist, because you have to understand how the coins are made, the processes by which the coins are made, and the things that you will see that are impossible to have happened in the coining process, or things that definitely happened in the coining process. These are things that give you a really good idea as to what it is you're finding. Because I can guarantee if you go through 5,000 coins, you're going to find some coins that you're going to question. So how did this happen? Did this happen at the mint, or is this something that happened in the parking lot when a 1966 Dodge Shift-O-Matic ran over the coin with grit and gravel underneath it? I mean, how did this happen? Well, you can usually answer that question if you really know the overall process. I'm very aware of who you are, Russell, and I appreciate you. You have a last name that is spelled with 4 letters. I know you. Probably 3/4 or more of the people who frequent these reveals, I know from previous experience, and those experiences are almost always great experiences. I have a wonderful time with you guys. Pat Seddon is one I don't recognize from earlier encounters, and hope that Pat will enjoy this experience and come back for more. This is one of the things I enjoy doing in life, and I love my wife, I love my dog, and I love my coins and my friends that I have developed through the relationships that I've developed through coins over time. I've been doing things with coins as far as collecting, studying, reading on, discovering, or whatever. I've been doing that for right at 50 years now. I started in 1975, probably around this time of year. So we're just about at my 50th coin birthday. I appreciate that, Dan. Thank you very much. I do my level best to try to explain things in terms that people can understand without having to have gone through college courses on the subject. I try to make sure that I'm relatively plain and easy to understand, because what's the point otherwise? I mean, I could write books in language that a lot of people wouldn't really understand. 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 40. I'm missing 2 coins in this roll. Not that, for this particular roll, not that it's going to make a huge difference, because, well, we are unfortunately in the midst of a roll that isn't producing anything. Not even nice, clean, high-grade coins. So, yes, I will give credits. Well, Dan, I appreciate you being around and being in a place where you can spend time with me. I know everyone's time is valuable. It's valuable to them, valuable to other people. Why waste it? So, this process is something that I chose to do to help people relax with their subject of interest, which for all of us, we happen to have a common interest in coins. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here. If you're looking for a video on how to plant a garden, this is not that video. And, where it comes to what and how and why, these are all questions that you have to go through answering in the process of understanding what you're doing, liking what you're doing, and really being able to share what you're doing with other people, some of whom, like your spouse or your children or your grandmother or whomever you share your coin collecting experience with, they have to understand what you're talking about, which means you have to understand what I'm talking about. When I lived in Florida, the veterans of foreign wars was I was in a particular what am I trying to say? I have completely lost an English word. That happens sometimes. The group I was involved with, anyway, was a really nice group and people, and I thoroughly enjoyed doing things with them and being around them. In fact, I was their commander for 2 years because I enjoyed the process of what we did for other people, mostly other veterans. But the group I was with contained one gentleman that I really enjoyed, and his name was Paul, and his last name was Cote, and he spelled it C-O-T-E. So your name, Russell, kind of reminds me of Paul. He was a lieutenant during Vietnam, and okay, so who do we have left over here? We've got Jackalope and Eric Bayer that were missing here because we only had 48 coins in an original roll. That kind of sucks. That would throw your till off at the store. You get your roll from the bank and it only has 48 coins in it. But so those are the people who are going to get something back out of this, and I will make sure that happens. I'm going to write it down. And that's all I've got for today. I really appreciate it, folks. Thanks for being around. Thanks for spending time with me, allowing me to jibber jabber on and on about what I enjoy. I hope you guys have gained something out of it and enjoy your experience with me and come back for more. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done it already. It really helps out, and it doesn't cost you anything. I appreciate you being here, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks very much.